Thank you. Have you ever power washed your car in a self-cleaning car wash? At gunpoint? Probably not so much. I was just power washed my car, cleaning it, no big deal, when all of a sudden I thought I heard something. And I whipped around when I heard, hands in the air up against the wall! And I sprayed 5 officers with their weapons drawn. Okay, happily, nobody had PTSD. I made it through that. But I dropped the power washer and slammed my hands up against the wall. Had a cop shove me hard in there while another one went for my car. And of course, I'm thinking, what is going on here? And I look over, there's my car. The officer whips open the door and stumbles backwards going, oh my God, it stinks in here. And I yell, possum. And the officer behind me shoves me harder. He says, shut up. The other officer's like stumbling backwards and like, oh my God. And the second guy goes over there and he's like, what's happening? And I look and I realize, wow, there's these red and green handprints all down my windows. And I yell, possum. Now, the first one turns around and looks at me and he goes, what are you saying? And I'm like, possum. I rescued a possum. And I had to put him in the back of my car because, wildlife centers close at 5. What kind of sense does that make? And I said, they smell horrible when they poop. And so he had pooped and had a bloody nose and just streaked it. Every single millimeter of my car was covered in this. All right, they lowered their weapons, gave me an apology. And apparently, somebody had driven by and thought somebody had been massacred or small family had been massacred inside my car. All right, just saying. Now, I am that person that has always rescued animals. From the time I was very young, I didn't really relate to people. I was all about the animals. So, in Africa, my dog and I would wander around by ourselves. I don't know what my parents were doing or thinking when your 3, 2, 4, 5, 6-year-old is wandering around in the bush with a dog and nobody else, but that's for another day. So I would catch all sorts of interesting things, sometimes bring home poisonous things, sometimes not, but it's no surprise when one day I developed a rash on my legs. My parents, of course, are thinking, what did she pick up? Ringworm, some parasite, something. We went to the doctor, and I actually heard, for the first time in my life, the worst word ever. Now, I was 9. I'm a smart person. I understood the definition of the word, but really not the implications. And it wasn't leprosy that they were first talking about, which I was like, whoa, leprosy? That doesn't sound good. They took a biopsy, and it was psoriasis. Now, all right, didn't really know what that meant either, except that I developed these huge, oozing, pussy, bloody scabs over my entire body at 11, 12, always the new kid. We moved every 6 months to a year. We know people can be cruel. People would say things like, should you be swimming in this pool? Isn't that contagious? Kids would wipe off their desk, sanitize their desk after I sat on it. So I went to long sleeves and long shirts all the time. But I was in Africa. So I was like, this is not sustainable. One day I was just like, you know what? Forget about it. Whipped off, put tank tops on, shorts on, and I'm like, I'll just deal with people saying, wow, it burns, what are they? And kids were the best. Wow, those look like owies. And the parents would freak out, and I would always be like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. And then I would explain it. When I was 15, I heard that word for the second time. I knew a little bit more, and it wasn't psoriasis, right? The worst word ever. Heard it again in relation to another illness problem that I had, which was intractable pain, which is chronic pain not able to be treated by medication 24/7. Couldn't treat it by medication because I reacted horribly to the meds. Nobody knew at that time that I was autistic. By the time I was 30, it was about 1991, and I heard this word, which you're probably wondering, what the heck is the word already, Tanya, right? I heard this word again. This time, I kind of got the idea. When the doctor, I had pain beyond my intractable pain, had a new source of pain, went to the doctor, and he said, you have fibromyalgia, and it's incurable. When somebody tells you something's incurable, what do you do with that? Usually you accept it. I was in the doctor's office, and he's telling me, you know, this is incurable, and I'm kind of like, well, okay, so what's the plan? And he goes, there's no plan. We're just going to manage this. And I'm like, oh, wait, so let me catch up with you. Right now, unable to do my passion. I was an extreme sports person. I rappelled out of helicopters, dove 100 times a year, hung out with Navy SEALs when they were like, woo, I was badass. And now, I couldn't do anything. Like, if I could walk, it was amazing. If I could not work 20 hours without crying, it was astounding. And I'd handled the intractable pain. This was a new level. And he said, well, you're actually doing really well. I'm like, what? Excuse me? And he goes, yeah. He says, you can have a little bit of social life and you can work. And he said, this is good progress. I stood up and kicked the chair over. And I said, yeah, you know what? I'll see you when I'm cured. And I turn around and I stalked out of his office, slamming doors, you know. And I'm walking out in the parking lot to my car when all of a sudden I'm like, wait a moment. What the heck are you doing? This was the only management you've had of this thing, and you've just like said, yo, see you later, and walked off. And as I approached the car, I thought to myself, okay, what can I do about this right now? What is in my power to do right now? Right? And I thought, incurable. Surely, there are things in the world that were thought to be incurable, and somebody had to be the first one cured. So I'm like, okay, I will be that person. I'm changing my relationship to the word incurable. Instead, I'm going to say, they just haven't found my solution yet. All right, that's a nice first step. I wish that was the only thing that had to happen, you know, woo, but that's not the case. But what that did is open up possibilities, and instead of me saying, oh, it's incurable, I started going, well, all right, let's think about this. Let's figure this out. It's a problem to solve. And I, as a strategist, autistic polymath, love solving problems. First thing, ditch anybody that would not support me finding a cure. I fired a bunch of doctors. I got rid of a ton of friends. And I was like, yep, nope. I'm finding the cure. And anybody that says anything different, exit stage left. Well, that's left. But go with yourself somewhere else, not here, right? So that helped me build people around me who supported my quest, who supported my exploration, right? Because a bunch of heads is better than one. And I left no stone unturned, all right? We are talking holistic, acupuncture, rolfing, if you name it, and I'm talking about 250 modalities easy, and I got certified in most of them because I'm all about the deep dive. Yep, some would help, some wouldn't, some would be okay, some would give me relief. Diving was the best. I had to have friends help me put all the stuff on and then kind of like bob me into the water and turn me loose. And that supersaturated oxygen helped relieve a lot of the pain. But I couldn't stay underwater forever. So, moments of pain relief. When I thought, what does it mean to be cured? Means that the body's supposed to heal, right? Can we all agree that our body's natural mechanism is to heal? Otherwise we wouldn't survive as a species. What's blocking my body from healing? So I also started looking at spirituality, right? All the stuff, meditation, I've been talking about that, positive mindset, this, that, the other. So then I went into that whole realm over there, got certified on everything. Then I realized there's a foundation that's missing from all of these things. And when I thought about how we're created, right, in the womb, we start as energy. And we come out of energy, we start having chemistry, right? Energy, then there's chemistry. Chemistry leads to feelings, physical body, mental body. What I call the 5 and 8 systems. Our mind is the last thing to develop at 25, right? And our physical body takes a while to grow. So these other components down here, when I was looking at modalities, weren't really being addressed. So if we're created and we unfold in this way, what does that look like for healing? What does that look like for addressing places that are broken? So I decided to start with one, energetic. Jumped on the energy bandwagon, right? How do I make sure that I am, and whatever you want to call it, energetically feeling okay, not toxic, positive, stuff like that, but really like truly, am I happy? I thought, I'm getting rid of everything I have. I'm not doing anything. I think I'm chasing money. Forget the money. I was making $250,000 a year at 24. Forget that. What makes me happy? I'm going to go back to horse riding. I had been in equestrian my whole life. I'm thinking, how are you going to ride, Tanya? You can barely walk and get in and out of a car. Doesn't matter. I go out and hang out with a horse. And I started to enjoy that. After that, I was thinking, chemistry. Ooh, growing up autistic, sexual abuse, I can list a litany, blah, 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 blah. I have trauma, which means a dysregulated nervous system. How do I regulate my nervous system? Well, deep dive into that. And before Google, I read about 2,500 words a minute. I'm like, like whipping through these texts and medical abstracts and things like that, looking for, what is this chemistry thing? And I realized I must be stuck in fight or flight. That's the easy way to say it. So what do I do about that? Chemistry. Change your chemistry. We've heard some people talk about, what you eat, right? What you think, how you do all that. So change the chemistry. Then I was like, emotions. I'm freaking angry. I'm like so freaking angry I can barely stand it. Because I've got incurable, I got this, I got that, right? Okay, that's not helping. I found out that when you're stressed and angry, your blood coagulates because it thinks you're going to be in a fight and it doesn't want you to bleed to death. Stroke, anybody? Heart attack? So when I'm stressed, I take a baby aspirin, but meditation's better. So I learned how to wake up going, I'm alive with this crazy, people hate sleeping with me. Well, not for that reason, just for this reason, 5 a.m., woo, I'm alive, yay, this is awesome. Yeah, they don't like that much, especially if they're not morning people. But that's how I feel every day. I'm waking up just freaking happy. Okay, what do we have next? Energy, emotional, chemistry, emotions, physical. What's happening with my body? I went vegan. I went macrobiotic. I went vegetarian. If you name it, raw, I went it. Fasted 3 weeks at a time. I mean, I tried everything. And once again, some relief. No sugar, this, whatever. Back when vegan was to me, I'm a carnivore now. Trying to get a carnivore meal at a restaurant was like trying to get vegan back then. I'm like, what do you want? I just want the meat. I don't eat those pickles. Anyway. So I even went and got wrapped in saran wrap with cat urine. When I say I left no stone unturned, and that's not the solution. I'm going to save you from that right now. Shamans, no stone unturned. You get the picture, right? Yeah, naked bathing in weird places, eating primordial ooze out of rocks, whatever. So, physical body, that was a problem. I didn't sleep. I was one of those people that I'm like, 3 hours a night, decades. I'm totally fine. I only had 2 last night. I feel like I'm on fire, and I don't even do caffeine. So physical body was going to take some time. But then how I thought, the thinking, I had that one already, right? Changing my relationship to the word incurable. So as I started putting all those pieces together, I noticed I started feeling better. But if I only did one modality, only talked to the mental, or only talked to the nervous system, or only did this, I'd get relief, which is not the same as sustainably healed. And a lot of us stop at relief, right? A lot of us get some relief, and then we're like, oh, I'm there. But then we fall off track somewhere else. They're all connected. Those 5 are connected. And when one is out, they're all out. So I came up with modalities, 5-minute practices, that basically do the work for you. Because it has to fly under the radar of the amygdala. Because I'm telling you what, your brain does not want to change. It does not want to lay down new neural pathways. That's a lot of freaking work. That 3 weeks to a habit is debunked a long time ago. Just saying. Otherwise, we'd all be having whatever we wanted if you could just hang on for 3 weeks. But neural pathways change at different rates. Happy to say, within 3 years, I walked back into my doctor's office and said, I'm cured. And he goes, no, you're in remission. And I'm like, dude, I'm cured. And he goes, well, it's not curable. I'm like, what do I have to do to prove it? And he goes, well, you're not going to be able to sing in a band anymore. You're not going to lift weights anymore. You're not going to do your lifestyle anymore. I'm like, see you in 6 months. So 6 months later, doing all the crazy stuff I was doing, I went back and said, I'm cured. And he goes, well, that's awesome. We can't tell anybody else that. Why? It's anecdotal. I could not get on a TEDx stage and do this talk. Anecdotal. Well, since then, I've never had those symptoms. And since then, I've cured intractable pain. And since then, I've cured Hashimoto's. My doctor, when I went in to get my prescription, said, I can't give it to you. I'm like, why? And he goes, your labs are normal. I said, does that ever happen? And he goes, no. I'm like, great. Let's do them again. They're normal. Great. Does anybody cure Hashimoto's? And he goes, yeah, not that we're aware of. I'm like, what do you call me? And he goes, I don't know. So the reality is you're all here because you know whether it's God, the universe, the innate power of whatever it is that you have going on, we are connected, but not just to each other and not just to the planet, but literally these innate systems within us. And once we master these, and it only takes a few practices nowadays, you know, breath work is one of them. I have a book out there, The Tantra of Conscious Breath, if you want to check it out. Breath work is one of them for sure. That's about regulating your nervous system. But I found the key was really that regulating of my nervous system. That when my nervous system is chill, my autistic symptoms aren't visible. My diseases get cured. By the way, I'm working on right now idiopathic peripheral neuropathy. I actually couldn't walk 8 months ago. I am reversing things that cannot be reversed. I am dead from the knees down. I have no proprioception. I can't feel anything. But I'm standing right here on the stage. Right? My doctors would be like, what are you doing? But I'm used to defying them. I have absolutely a dream for all of you. And that as you become your best advocate, right? That if you go and somebody tells you that's incurable, you know somebody that has something incurable? Stop using that word. Change your relationship to the word, whatever it is, right? For me, it's, I have not found the answer yet. I've cured 5. I've got 1 more going. And you'll see me pretty soon back to all the things that I love.